As the full-scale invasion began, Ukraine, which held substantial reserves from the Soviet Union times, had never the same budget or inventory as Russia had, making it very difficult to try and defend with the same weapons but far fewer in numbers and less modern. But around 6 months into the conflict, everything was about to change. For the first time, Ukraine had a far more effective weapon system than Russia, with a range of around 80 kilometers, making Ukraine to strike Russia effectively much further back than previously, pushing Russia's logistics and resources further back, while having a much harder time protecting their high-value equipment within this range. With a small rocket with 227mm in diameter and less than 4 meters long, it's quick to fire and reload and has a high accuracy and hit probability, even against Russia's anti-GPS equipment and their best air defense systems. With the HIMARS and M270 GMLRS being able to carry 6 or 12 GMLRS rockets, having 200 pounds or around 90 kilograms in the Warhead, making the system relies on high accuracy to make it so effective, with GPS and inertial navigation giving it around 3 meters in accuracy. Russia, which learned mostly by making mistakes, has never really solved their GMLRS rocket problem. As Russia's army needs multiple weapon systems to operate within the range of a GMLRS rocket, making it little they can do but to suffer a continuous loss rate. But Russia, which claimed to have some of the best air defense systems in the world, have a few major problems which the GMLRS rocket exploit, with most of their system having problem detecting low observable targets, while having blast fragmentation warheads in their interception missiles, meant to detect and intercept aircrafts at great distance. With a small and short-range rocket causes the SAM system not only to misdetect the rocket, but having poor interception rate when they do detect the rocket and are within range, as the blast fragmentation warhead of the interception missile doesn't necessarily destroy the small GMLRS rocket, as it needs a perfect hit to cause the small rocket to be destroyed. But due to the small and fast-moving object, causing the interception missile often to hit a bit off or miss it completely, leaving the S-300 and S-400 to be too clumsy, expensive to operate, and have the risk of being hit themselves. While the Thor, Strela and Panzer not having good enough radars to detect it adequately, with the Buck often being put in between and became a regular victim, with all of Russia's SAM system often being the victim of GMLRS rockets, while the S-300 and S-400 were more protected by the range away from the front line, which caused the attackers to destroy them instead. Possibly the best evidence that Russia's SAM system couldn't stop GMLRS rockets was the failure to protect the Antonovsky Bridge. With the GMLRS rocket not being primarily meant for penetration, it was able to disrupt and cut the supply bridge in Kherson. Needing many dozens of strikes to cut the bridge, and later the pontoon bridge Russia built just under to the side. As even when Russia knew that Ukraine would strike the bridge at multiple times, they still failed to stop the attack, making it possible for Ukraine to retake Kherson as the logistics became too hard for Russia. With the GMLRS rocket coming in 3 main versions, with the first being developed as a cluster version, it was actually the last to be sent. With a unitary blast fragmentation warhead being by far the most common, and the personal favorite, the alternative warhead, which was meant to take over the cluster version, sending 182,000 tungsten fragmentation to strike the location. Being able to cover a large area, as a cluster munition does, but not having the risk of leaving unexploded ordnance. Giving little penetration capability, but covering a large area which is effective against soft and non-armored targets. As Ukraine has managed to send thousands of GMLRS rockets to take out many thousands of targets, often sending 2 or 3 missiles, especially against high-value targets, to ensure a higher destruction probability. With the biggest inaccuracy of the GMLRS rocket is the reported GPS location from the drone. As HIMARS and MLRS system have been able to fire at a distance and either go back to hiding or do a fire and scoot tactic. Russia has had a major problem destroying this system and has only managed to destroy around 10% of Ukraine's inventory after 3 years of fighting, making it one of the most survivable and most used weapon system on the battlefield. With future versions of the GMLRS extended range of 150 km, the ground-launched small-diameter bomb, which Ukraine has received in small numbers, and the over 500 km range precision strike missile, all showing great promises, and could be able to achieve what GMLRS rocket can deliver up to 80 km in range. While the focus now has turned more to drones, the increased production of tens of thousands of rockets annually and around 100 HIMARS systems has shown that this system with the rockets continue to show great capability. With little defensive measure but to stay outside the range, or risk leaving less for tomorrow. That's all I had for this video. Please like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching. Bye.